Hi everyone, my name is Jeffrey and today I'll be demonstrating to you guys my CNAD Assignment 1 video. Today I'll be starting off with the architecture diagram, explaining how it works, followed by a video demonstration of my actual solution. So this is my architecture diagram over here. And we'll first start from a high-level overview. So when the user first uses the system, they will be accessing the front end, and then the front end will then call the respective microservices backend. So we have the authentication microservice, user microservice, vehicle microservice, and payment microservice. So for the rationale for the design of my microservices, I decided to split up my user management microservice into two different services, which is the user microservice and the authentication microservice. The reason I did this is so that I can make the authentication microservice unprotected, meaning it does not require any JWT token to authorize to use this microservice. And then the user microservice is a protected microservice, meaning that it requires JWT authentication for you to use this microservice. So this helps my system to be more safe, so that only authenticated users are able to interact with the user microservice, while allowing all users to access the authentication microservice so that they can log in. Then the next requirement is the vehicle reservation system. So for this requirement, I decided not to split my microservices further down, and instead just use one microservice, which is the vehicle microservice. So this vehicle microservice will account for the car availability booking, the booking modification and cancellation, as well as the vehicle status tracking. The reason I did not further break this down into smaller microservices is because the data that is required for all these three requirements is still using the same exact, it's still using more or less the same values. So that means that all these three requirements requires similar data, such as the model of the car, the vehicle ID, the charge level, the availability, as well as the cleanliness level. So since they all require the same similar sets of values, there's no need to split it down. If I split it down into more microservices, then now I need more databases. However, the database will still be storing more or less similar values. So I felt that this will not be very optimized, as now if I want to make one call, then it might have to introduce a lot of complexities, as now your call will have to go to different microservices. However, all the database is still the same, then there's not really much point in. I don't see much point in doing it lah. Yeah, so that's this. And similarly for the billing payment, that's the payment microservice. The same microservice will address the tier-based pricing and discount, real-time billing calculation, payment processing, as well as the invoice and receipt. So everything is handled by this, and I did not split it down due to the same reason as vehicle microservices, as the values needed are more or less the same. And just to backtrack a bit, so for the user management, the user microservice is in charge of the authentication microservice is in charge of the user registration and authentication. Then the membership tiers and profile management is being handled by user microservice. So yeah, then now going to the next part. So for server, the service state composition, this was covered in the rationale of why I decided to model my diagram this way. Then for inter-service communication and server orchestration and load balancing, this is where the Docker comes in. So what I did was I used Docker to create a Docker file for my front end, my user microservice, my authentication microservice, vehicle microservice, and payment microservice. So each one of them has its own Docker file. If you take a look at my code, then you'll see that inside the front end there's a Docker file. Inside my authentication microservice there's another Docker file, which is here. So this is my Docker file. And similarly, table also has one, user also has one, and vehicle also has a Docker file. Then what this does is it allows me to containerize my application, and it helps with the scalability. So let's say if I want to go into production and I want to increase the number of these services, I can then easily just create a new container for each one of the instances, depending on the needs. Then I also have an NGINX load balancer, as well as 3 front-end instances. So the 3 instances is actually handled by the Docker. So I'll create 3 front-end containers. Then the NGINX load balancer is the one that will route the traffic equally within these 3 front-end instances. So this helps with the load balancing. And finally, everything is being controlled by Docker Compose. So Docker Compose is the one that's in charge of the service orchestration, which will then create all the. It allows me to control all my Docker containers, allow me to up all of it at the same time. And on top of that, it also helps with the networking within all the microservices. So this helps with the inter-service communication, allowing my microservice to interact with one another for various needs. And then so that's the Docker file that can be seen over here. So Docker Compose. This Docker Compose is the one that is in charge of like upping all my containers over here. So just to add on, I also use a bit of third-party tools such as AWS, S3, and SMTP. So my S3 is being stored, so it's being used to store all my invoices. So whenever a user makes a payment, the payment microservice will calculate the billing, and then it will charge the user accordingly. Then it will create an email with an invoice PDF, and then it will send this email to Gmail SMTP. So now that this is like the payment confirmation. And then on top of that, after it sends the email, it will then send the invoice PDF to S3 bucket. So this helps with the admin to manage the finances in any audit purposes. So the admin can go to Amazon S3 and see all the invoice PDF that being stored in S3. So this allows them to do any admin purposes. Maybe in the future they will check whether a user got paid for a certain deal, they can refer to the Amazon S3. Then similarly, my authentication microservice uses Gmail SMTP for verification email. So this is just to ensure that the user provided an email that is verified, because the user received a verification code, then they must enter this verification code in order to create the account. And finally, for the vehicle microservice, just for any booking confirmation that they want to send. So whenever the user makes a booking, then the vehicle microservice will send a confirmation booking email to the user. And with that, we have covered the architecture diagram. Oh, just to add on, for the data management part, so I have created one database each for every microservice, and these databases this database is logically isolated from one another completely. Meaning my user database can only talk within itself, and it cannot talk to the other databases directly. Meaning like I can't use foreign key and then I reference a primary key in a separate database. Then on top of that, to address the caching optimization, I actually use indexes, and I use the optimized data tag for each one of the data stored in the database. So the indexes help to reduce the latency and allow the system to retrieve values as quickly as possible. And the optimized data types help to reduce the size of the database, allowing me to optimize the value. So for example, let's say if it's user ID, then I'll use like, for example, I use over here database. So for example, I use small int. So this helps you to reduce the size of the ID so that it's not so big. And now this is the index. And then for those string values, I use enum. So this ensures that only the values card or enum can be stored for this data. So by using all these types of data tag optimization as well as indexes, I was able to fulfill this requirement of caching optimization. So with that, we came to the end of the architecture diagram explanation, and now move on to the video demonstration of my actual solution. Thank you. Hi, so now we'll go into the video demonstration part. So to run my program, you just need to run this prune build up load balance patch. So what it does is it will first clear all the server, all the Docker cache. It will then build all the containers, up the containers, and then load balance the containers. Okay, so now the Docker has completely built. You can tell that as the vehicle user authentication K1 are running on its own endpoints, as well as the front end 1, 2, and 3 that's being load balanced by the NGINX load balancer. So I'm just going to sign off. Okay, so once you're here, you can click get started, and then you can you can then sign up an account. So let's say I want to create an account, and click send code. So this will send a code to my email. Okay, so now I can go here, retrieve my verification code, and I can enter my password 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I will log in my account. You can click on my profile. So this is my profile. I can edit any values I want. Let's say now I stay in Avenue 2, I can save changes, and now my address is edited accordingly. Okay, so now I will put my bookings. There's no active booking. Now if you book vehicles, let's say I want to book a car at 10:10, and I want to book it till maybe 11:10. I can search availability. So this shows the maintenance date and so the other values. I can book now. Then let's say I want to pay now. So this shows the details of the booking as well as like the total price per hour, and the final price. The discount is based off your membership status. So there's tier-based discount, meaning that if depending on what membership level you are, you will receive a different member benefit. So basic is 5%, premium is 10%, VIP is 20% discount. So now when I click on my bookings, and this is the booking that I just have, I can then click on start trip. So this shows my booking details again. And so it prompts me to update the vehicle details. So maybe now it's clean, it's no longer needs cleaning. And then the charge level is 70. So I'll enter my charge level of the car. So now this will update the system, and this is my active booking. So now the booking has started. So when I click on view vehicles, I'm not allowed to book more vehicles because I'm a basic plan. I can only book up to one car. Sorry, I only can book to one. I only can make one active booking at a time. So maybe let's say now my mom also needs a car, but I need to drive. So I need to fulfill my booking first. I mean she needs it now. So I can upgrade my membership. So let's say now on the VIP, then I can enter. Let's say I want to pay my credit card now. So I enter my name, then enter your card details. So let's say okay, so this is a valid email. So this is a valid credit card that I memorized. When I enter this, it will show valid as a tick there. Then maybe expense here. And okay, once. Oh, my bad. Okay. Then you can. Oh. Okay, then now you can click payment once you entered your card details correctly. So whenever I make a payment, I also will receive an invoice in my email. So this is for the membership. This is the updated one. So it's over here. This is my details. And then if I go to Amazon S3, it also will be my PDF invoice will be stored in here respectively. So this is for the invoice that I just made. And if I click here, I can then download the invoice. So this is for the admin to download the invoice. Okay. So now moving on. I can now that I've upgraded to premium, I can click on my profile to see that I'm a VIP now. Then now I can make up to 10 bookings at any time. So now I can book for my mom. So maybe my mom wants to book for another day. Then I can click search. So maybe she wants a Honda Civic. Then she can maybe pay now again. Then my mom can scan a PayNow code for me. So once this is done, I can go to my booking. And I can see the 2 active bookings. But I can only start trip when it is 1 hour away from now. So now that my trip has started previously, I have started the trip already. Then I can click end booking once I'm done. So when I click end booking, then it will prompt me to re-update cleanliness state. So maybe now it needs cleaning, and now it's only left with 30% charging level. So now I submit. Once that's done, my booking will then be pass booking with the values updated and charge level 30%. So now, so now we have covered registration, membership tiers, user management, booking, cancellation. So if I want to modify the booking, I can modify the start date however I want. So maybe now she wants to book it for 2 days more. Then I'm prompted to repay for my additional booking. And once that's done, I can go back home. So now this is changed to 16 December. And finally, I can also cancel the booking. Let's say my mom doesn't want it anymore. Then I click cancel. And when I cancel, I receive a confirmation email too. So you can see that I have the email for the cancellation. Here. So this is the booking that was cancelled. Sorry. This is the email of the booking that's been cancelled. Yeah. Then yes. So now the cancellation is done. Then vehicles data tracking, that was one I can enter the value previously. Okay. So tier-based discount also covered. Real-time calculations covered. Payment processing. So that was the card details and PayNow. Invoice and receipt. That's the email that I received. And yeah, I believe with that we have came to the end. So yeah, there's my bookings, then upgrade membership, and then there's my profile and view available cars. Thank you so much.